Who's going to med school? Who's going to med school? I'm going to med school. I'm going to med school. Who's going to med school? Who's going to med school? I was checking my email as per. I have just got my second offer to work. I am so excited. I thought I'd failed that interview. I'm not even speaking English properly because I'm actually really shocked. Sorry, I'm actually being like half blinded. But when I tell you, this is just God's mercy. I flopped. I don't even remember what I said. Mommy, go mommy, go mommy. Yeah! I got three. I got three. I got three. Three places.
In London. In London. In London.
Yeah! 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 Welcome back to Natasha's Narrative. I think this is my 11th or 12th video, depending on which one I upload first, probably my 11th. I would have done a celebration for my 10th one, but because those were filmed back to back, I didn't really get to do that. So this is the faux 10th video celebration. You're probably not used to seeing me dressed up like this for any of my videos, but it's because I'm filming this straight after coming home from church. I just thought it was really important for me to film this today because I'm going to be talking about what I've kind of been going through the last couple of months, why my filming has been a little bit haphazard, and just giving my testimony really. So yeah, to cut the long story short, this week I heard back from my 2 other med school offers and I got places in both of them, so that made a total of 3 offers. So my offers being Newcastle undergrad, King's undergrad and Warwick graduate program, so that's a 4-year accelerated program. I've been trying to get into med school for about since I was 17, 2014. Yeah, so yeah, 5 years. Yeah, since 2014 I've been actively trying to get into med school. When I say actively, I mean when I was 17, that was the youngest age that I could actually apply to begin the following year, which was September 2015, when I would have been 18 to start in med school. But for you guys to kind of get more of an understanding, I'm just going to go all the way back to, I think, 2007. Wow, I really couldn't work out what year it was when I was 10. That's a bit tragic. Yeah, so when I was 10, I really actually wanted to be an actress. I wanted to like be on Wizards of Waverly Place. I'm not even gonna lie. I wanted that Selena Gomez lifestyle, or Harry Potter for sure. I definitely wanted to be an extra or like a character on Harry Potter. And my mum was like really happy for me to do that, but she was always like, have a backup plan. Have you thought about medicine? And being a doctor, and I was kind of like good. I was a good kind of all-rounder by that point. I did really enjoy maths there, so maybe that's, and sciences ish, so maybe that's why she kind of thought that I would be good at it. And I was kind of like okay, like I just kind of said yes to appease her at that point, and in my head I was like, oh, I'm gonna be an actress anyway, so don't have to think about the medicine thing. But when I got older, I think, especially in secondary school, when people would ask me what do you want to do, I would always say, I would say medicine. And I think when I started getting really positive responses with people saying, oh my gosh, like you want to do medicine, you want to be a doctor, I was like, okay, this is a good thing to say. Like, yeah, I'm going to tell everyone I want to be a doctor. So I started saying that, and I wouldn't say like originally I probably wasn't even that keen. I don't think it was until maybe 12, 13 that I properly actually innately had more of a desire to actually be a doctor and follow up medicine. And I had cousins who started to introduce me to like things like Grey's Anatomy, and I always loved Scrubs anyway, so even though I know those aren't close resemblances to what it's actually like to be a doctor, but I always kind of liked medical shows. So yeah, so if you fast forward, some of you guys have seen my A-level show and my A-levels episode, and me talking about the mistakes I made during A-levels. So if you look at that, it kind of covers a more detailed explanation of my transition from GCSEs to A-levels. So I won't really go over that again. But yeah, ended up getting 2 Bs and a C. Very, very far away from the 3 As that are required to go to study medicine even. So I remember like being so upset with God at that time. Even though I've been brought up in a Christian family, We don't go to church every Sunday. I think it's quite hard having a mom who works night shift, so a lot of the time she might work on a Saturday night. By the time she gets home, like, us going to church was pretty much impossible. So I would take myself sometimes alone, if she had come back earlier but was just really tired, understandably, or sometimes if she wasn't home, I'll go with my siblings. But I would say that I definitely believed in God, I believed in Christ, but in terms of reading the Bible, didn't really do that. Praying, I was very good at praying, but reading the Bible and that type of stuff, I was a little bit involved in church. Like, I helped out with my church youth group, and I went to a different church youth. I went to a church youth group which was for my age, an older age group, obviously, and that was pretty much it. I would say regarding my GCSEs, when I got my GCSEs results, I did quite well, and I don't remember being that thankful to God for it. I must have said, like, a kind of off the cuff comment, like, "Oh, thank God for helping me." And I used to pray before exams, but I definitely relied solely, well, not solely, but primarily on my own intelligence. And I think me getting lower grades had to happen to me even, for me to get a better relationship with God, because the way I was going, I would have continuously just been relying on myself, continued to be quite prideful in my own intelligence. So I really needed it to happen. But as I was saying, I was extremely upset. I was angry. I remember crying, asking God why. Like, if you gave me this passion to be a doctor, why would you let me get such bad grades? Because I'd worked really hard and I didn't think I deserved to get bad grades when I'd done so much work. So I was really, really upset. So, yeah. So I was really, really upset. And then, as you guys know, did a gap year, improved my grades, and I had another interview during that gap year time for a university. Failed my interview. So again, really, really upset, angry with God. But it was always funny that my anger always kind of dissipated quite quickly. But I would say, like, my outside anger, I think I was kind of left more with, like, not being able to understand. I was very confused as to why I hadn't gone in. Again, why was I given a passion for something that was not being fruitful at the time? And that was really confusing for me. So I went to Newcastle, as most of you know, studied biomed. So when I was in my third year of biomed, I applied for med school again. I applied for George's, King's, Warwick, and Newcastle. So I got rejected by all four. One of them was my own fault for being stupid, because George's undergraduate, unless you're applying through clearing, if you're a graduate, you're not allowed to apply. So that one I kind of kicked myself for, because I was like, why don't you just read it again and make sure that, looked over everything. But it was what it was. So when it got to May of I think it was April actually, of 2019, more places opened up in extra for medicine. So this was because the government was trying to increase the number of basically future doctors. Quite a few universities went into extra. So it allowed you to apply for one extra place, to one extra place even. So I applied for a uni. I hadn't done the BMAT at that point. I'd only done the UCAT because I wasn't really interested in going to a BMAT uni. I think it's quite hard sometimes to juggle more than one medical exam, so I decided to only go with one. But what that meant was, because the BMAT was only being sat in big cities like London, Manchester, Birmingham, etc., and not in Newcastle, I had to go home. And this was during exam season. So I really prayed about it, and I kind of decided that it was a good thing to do, because I was always going to be constantly thinking, would I get in? Would I have got in if I'd applied? Did I miss my opportunity? Blah, 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 blah. So I just decided to, bet on myself. So I went back home, I sat the BMAT, I managed to get enough points on the BMAT to get invited to an interview. So this day was actually a day from hell. I swapped jackets last minute when I was leaving for the university. And bearing in mind, this interview was 2 days before one of my final exams. So I left the day before that. I left the day before that because my interview was really early in the morning, and I knew that I'd be really tired. So I switched jackets. Now, the jacket that left had my ID and my card in it, but I decided not to go back home because I didn't need my ID for the interview, and I'd already paid for my hotel online ages before, so I had enough cash. So I was like, that's fine, I won't need my card, I'll survive. I get to the university campus, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to check in, and they're like, we don't have your room, we're overbooked. So I'm trying not to like scream at this point, and I'm kind of panicking. Then they're like, okay, there's a travel lodge down the road, go there. And there was this other family who was in the exact same predicament. So they were like, okay, yeah, we'll take you with us. I was like, okay, cool, this is so nice. They were a lovely Christian family, but their sense of direction was so off. So the uni, I'm not going to say which uni it was, but the area it was in, kind of, if you make a wrong turn, you end up having to loop back and forth and back and forth. So we were driving around for 3 hours for some place that was 10 minutes down the road. I was like, the devil was actually really trying to confuse me, because my plan was get to the hotel, read up before my interview, feel a bit more settled, chill, eat, relax, like, and go to sleep. We got to the hotel at midnight. I go to pay first, which was really smart because they told me that they didn't take cash unless you had ID. So I just gave the cash that I had to the father of the girl that was also interviewing at the same time as me. And luckily, yeah, he accepted. So he paid on his card for all of us. Went to breakfast, that was fine. Then the interview, I really didn't think I did that great. I panicked on one of the stations, completely read the question wrong, and got literally the whole thing wrong. It was just, I just remember feeling like quite rubbish after it, and I was quite upset because I, spent that time, which I could have spent revising, going to this interview. So anyway, I ended up getting a place actually at that university, a conditional offer. However, they wanted me to get a 2-1 and a certain percentage, and I didn't get that percentage. So even though I got a 2-1, my offer got rescinded. So I was like, great. Like, I felt, yeah, it was horrible. I remember looking at my email, I think it was around July, and I was like, this sucks because, I really thought I was going to med school. I thought everything was prepped, I was ready. And then it felt like the carpet had just kind of been yanked beneath my feet. But at the same time, I remember when I didn't get in the first 4 places that I applied to, I kind of felt like being at home was the smartest choice that year, because I just felt like I would be most helpful if I actually stayed at home for this year. And so even though I felt happy that I'd be able to help at home, I was kind of like sad at the same time that like I was so close. But I think God did it so that I would know that I was ready, because up until that point I'd applied actually for med school during first year because Newcastle has a transfer program, but I didn't get in. So that was the first interview that I'd actually managed to ever pass. So I think it did give me a good kind of boost of confidence, and it made me know that I don't have to be completely perfect during interviews to actually be able to succeed. Which made me feel a lot better, I think, when I entered interview season this time round.